Hello. Now I'm with another position. I have the privilege to be part of the Strategy Advisory Board of Quantum Flagship. That is one of the organizations that is leading the strategy in Europe and coordinating the effort in quantum technologies. Also, I used to work for a corporation, a big finance institution. Now I'm trying to be an entrepreneur, and also I'm part of the World Economic Forum. So I want to share with you the views that I have and the opinion that I have, how Europe is implementing a really good strategy, and some questions that I would love to elaborate with you and have your feedback now and maybe later, how we could improve to achieve the European goals using quantum technologies. So it's my vision of this. So first of all, congratulations and thanks a lot for Araceli, for Cureca, for giving us so interesting, important information about what is the public funding. And I'm sure that in the next month, we are going to see another chart with evolution. The important thing here is Europe is one of the regions that is investing more, and I think from the beginning, in quantum technologies. We have, I think, China, that we don't know, we only have partial information, and now US is also investing hard in quantum security, in quantum computing, in quantum algorithms. It's like being like a strategy thing. In my way of thinking, what is happening now, because India is also pushing hard, Canada is pushing hard, and different countries want to have their strategy. This is important because we can see this like a competition, and in some ways, of course, we have polarization between different regions, but also we need to see this, how we could collaborate. You know that investing something in a silos will get less return than trying to collaborate and put a big coordination that for me is one of the key points. So one thing, the good news for me is that this is one of the launches that come in 2018, that is the launching of the quantum flagship. That was some kind of the formalization of some unit, some organization trying to coordinate, trying to coordinate all the effort that was been happening in the last year about quantum technologies or in the 20 years in Europe, and put a clear goal that Europe needs to be quantum ready. And not only quantum ready, Europe needs to achieve the goals based also using machine learning, other technologies, brain, but also quantum. So it's clear for the European Commission leaders that quantum is one of the key technologies now to be prepared now and for the future. The other good news is that there is a clear, sometimes complex, I spend a lot of days trying to understand this picture, trying to understand who I need to talk with when I need to have some fun information or give some feedback. Is that there is different working groups, some kind of horizontal, other based on experts in Europe that are trying to create from the research agenda to the strategy to the governance and also the science and engineering thing. And also trying to get feedback for the European Commission KPIs, more citizen GDP, and also giving feedback and giving orientation about how they need to mobilize resources, funding, and other things. So part of this effort, and I was really proud, you can see also Thierry here, in 2020, the Quantum Flagship gave the first version of the European research agenda of quantum technologies to the European Commission. It was a super good thing. I recommend to you to read this. The summary is a 120 document. It's interesting, but, well, main key points. I start with I put the first one. The first thing, because I forget the first and the two, the first is, of course, talent. The first thing that European knows is we can make different things, but without talent, from basic science to engineering to business leaders that understand quantum, we will not have anything. So the first thing is how we could create from basic science, from researchers, from engineering, how they could start creating more quantum computing, quantum sensoring programs. And one more time, from schools to creating awareness and interest and making fun games with quantum to MBAs. So we need to explain to business people also what is quantum. The third part, that is one of the most important parts, is there are different people in academia making sensors or some kind of control mechanism for qubits, but we need to be able to move from lab to market. So how we could create also, connecting to the Digital Innovation Hub in Europe, different mechanism and investing from universities and also public and coordination with private research centers this capability, from experimenting to production. And probably we will have a good example, Carlos, that with QSI now that is making something similar. The fourth part, and for me this just was some kind of boring, and later I start understanding that is one of the most important parts, standards in one side, and especially in communication. We have clear standards, and Europe needs to also try to dominate the standards. You know how important is the lobby that region and making in standards. And I will comment more later about this, patents. So in the standard, Europe is trying, or is making a really good effort, trying to define what is the standards for communication. Now in cryptography, the leaders probably are US with NIST, but also in computing, how we are going to get access in a not in a homogeneous way to algorithms and to computing. Also, part of this standardization is get access to computing. It's great to have quantum computers or quantum key distribution in academia or in some center, but not only big corporations could get access to this. Also, SMEs need to get access to this. So they are making a lot of effort to get accessible the quantum computing capabilities of Europe to the rest of the European companies and citizens. And the IP part also is super important because we are going to see how Europe is creating, and Thierry made a good comment this morning, I think a big percent of the papers, and we are going to see about patents, but the reality is now the patent is being is being monetized, managing the license, mainly in US. So we need to get the control of what we are researching and inventing. And the last part, we were saying also education. So this was the strategy research agenda, and the good thing also, and one more time, congratulations to Thierry, because this was an amazing thing. And this is something, well, 3 weeks ago, great effort combining what the RIA and Quantum Industry Consortia was leading, that is the industrial strategy agenda, what the industrial people say about what are the main use cases, what are the capabilities they need, what they can offer, combining with the research agenda. And we had the preliminary document, and you can also download. This is really interesting, that is trying to put the roadmap of the Europe Quantum Ambition in computing, security, communication, sensory, metrology, I'm sure I'm forgetting one, in 2 time horizons, from 2023 to 2026, more or less, and from 2026 to 2030. So having a lot of experts and people working in different areas, there is a lot of good information about what is the level of quality of qubits, the number of qubits that we need to have, because you know that it's not only numbers, it's quality, to try to be able to solve interesting and real problems to Europe, society, and companies. And we have a really good understanding of what is the key progress that we need to make, and also it's going to orientate the funding of Europe in different areas, so it's really helpful for corporations, for startups, for SMEs, and for research centers to try to put the focus what Europe is planning to mobilize resources. Of course, attention, decision, funding. And well, you can see this vision from Quantera to the new quantum computing and simulation infrastructure that now Europe also is financing different quantum computers connected to HPC center around Europe to create this ring of quantum computing. We also, as Europe is investing a lot in the quantum communication infrastructure. So the good news, well, the good news is that Europe is one of the leaders. I tried to explain this as facts, and I'm going to start giving my impression now in the 4 or 5 minutes. So I think that Europe is great, but also Thierry advanced this morning that this is the number of research papers that Europe is creating in the last 10 years. We can see the last 3 years, but well, there are different numbers. I like this one because it sees how Europe is leading the research, is leading the knowledge, the production. But we compare with this, and you can imagine how the IP is related with the investment. What is happening now is, this is more private investment, that US, and I'm not putting here, China, you never know the data, because I don't believe this, is investing harder. And also Thierry was pointing this morning that probably is 1 or 2 orders of magnitude. And we have two things, because you don't know exactly what Amazon or Google or big data giants are investing, because they have amazing research budget, and they are combining AI, machine learning, and quantum in the budget. So probably, and this is my opinion, 1 or 2 companies, big data giants in US, probably are investing more than Europe altogether. The other part that I think that we could improve, and I would love to make this final part, these 2-3 minutes, is how we could collaborate to help. Because one of the things that I'm really excited about is all the people involved in this association in Europe want one thing: have the European style of life, the democratic view, and use the technology to create prosperity. So I think that with this vision, what is missing is 4 problems, or 4 challenges more than problems. One, and we can see in regional thing in Spain, we have some kind of European strategy, but European strategy is not really well aligned with country strategies. So now we have a Spanish strategy that I think that we are going to see in coming weeks. We have the German strategy, Italian strategy, Netherlands strategy, and so on. And if you put all the papers, and I would love to have your opinion on this also, it's not really well aligned. And some case is trying to, is not working in the right way. So Europe needs to define what is the strategy, or what is the coordination mechanism. So we want to add some kind of splitting funding to try to make experiment, university, corporation, but with a common goal, or common roadmap and portfolio, or the opposite. Have a portfolio. We were also discussing with Thierry something similar that is geopolitical, something more similar to Airbus, but in a modern way for quantum. So, and I think that we need to define what are the pros and cons to have what we have now, splitting money for projects, for startups, and that is not working well for scaling up startups. Putting money in regional thing. In Spain, there is an example. We have amazing researchers, amazing companies, and when you see what is happening in the north of Spain, in the center of Spain and the south, sometimes we are reinventing the world. It's not that we are diversifying and trying to make different experiments to have conclusion. We are reinventing the world without one part knowing the other part. So one part, coordination, leadership, portfolio management. The other part for me is IP, and also we have been commenting along the day, is US and EU have different approach of patenting software. Now it's not so easy as used to be patenting software in US, but it's more easier than in Europe. And if we want to have this sovereign and also leadership, we need to improve one thing, how easy it is for startups and researchers to make patents, and second, how we could provide these patents and the finance capability investment to stay in Europe. Because what is happening is that a small startup makes 2-3 patents, and then US company acquire the EU startup, so the patents goes to US. The inventors are in Europe, but the monetization of the patents is in the other part. The third part for me that we are missing, because we have really big researchers, is how the business people, not technology people, and there are big effort to educate more people in the technical part, in the sales part, but I think it's missing the business part. If we don't have the connection between the business leader, the business manager, understanding the quantum mindset, we are not going to move in the right direction of velocity from lab or experiment or proof of concept to production. And I think that we need to start making efforts how we could educate these kind of people. And the fourth one, the last one, and I think that is something really related to the digital sovereignty of Europe, is cloud. And we all know where is the European data, where is the European data. And I think the 90% is in US companies, maybe it's in European-based data center, but it's in US company. And the computation that Europe also is doing, in a lot of the cases, is based on US companies. So we need to be able to provide, as fast as possible, quantum computing, also communication and sensoring, but especially quantum computing, European cloud network, so big corporations, research centers, and SMEs could start experimenting and later integrating quantum in their workflows. And I would love to have your views and feedback about how we could evolve from the big strategy and big effort that we have to start progressing in the right direction. Thank you.